Yeah. Okay, we just started the Mishnah, middle of the Mishnah on Yud Gimel, where the Mishnah says, person says, Tnu getz eli ishti, and Rashi explains, he gave the order that the get should be written, but in actuality, the get was not given to the shliach. Shtar shikhr zel abdi, same thing, he gave the order, the shtar shikhr, the writ of emancipation given to the slave, but the shliach did not take possession. So therefore, even the Chachomim, the Mishnah is able to go according to the Chachomim. So there was nothing for the shliach to take possession of, umes, and before it was given, the shliach took the get. The person who owned the slave, who was married to the husband, passed away, died. Lo yidin lacha misa. The get cannot be given to the woman after he passed away, and the shtar shichrur cannot be given to the slave. So Rashi says, why the shtar shichrur can't be given to the slave? So Rashi says, upokale rushusei, because he already was transferred out of the domain of the deceased to the heirs, right? It shifted. You can't emancipate something that is not his. The slave is no longer his.
Why can't we say that the documents were not given to the shliach?
It was not given to the slave.
Why can't we say
because
that?
then, if you want to work out the Mishnah is going like the Chachomim, right? Chum say them because the moment the shliach takes possession of the document, he takes possession on behalf of the slave. But the Mishnah, we're not differentiating. Rameir, Chacham, everybody agrees. He's not emancipated. She's not divorced. So it's interesting. Yesterday I mentioned this machlokes. What exactly is shliach? When we say shliach shodem kamoso, does the shliach fully assume the position of the one who commissions him? And it's as if he functions independent of the one who commissioned him? Well, no. I use the term he's like a tentacle of the person who commissioned him. So if he's only a tentacle, what is there even to consider yesh get lachamisa? Right? Person commissions a person to act on his behalf, and he dies. He passes on. There's a consideration that maybe the get could be given even after he passes away. Even if he passes away, what's the consideration? If the shliach is only a tentacle of the person, so the person is not alive, the tentacle doesn't function. If you say the person fully assumes the position of the one who died, so he's still alive. So I would think, even though he's not linked to the one who committed, but once he's put into the position, he's functional, independent of the original person. Although he still could cancel. He could cancel him, right? Nobody argues. Everybody agrees. You appoint a shliach, the one who appoints the shliach was able to actually withdraw the agency. But until he withdraws it, the person is fully functional. Because take a look at Tosos. Tosos over here, the fourth Tosos on the page. Lo yin lachamiso, the kamash malo then get lachamiso. And what's the chiddush? That a get, you cannot give a get after he passes away, although there's a shliach, right? Although he appointed a shliach, the get cannot be given after he passes away. What's that? Avagav de behejet tenan pek misha also. Although we have another Mishnah that says explicitly they get lachamiso. Hochi itzrich lashminan. So what does this Mishnah add to that? You know, Rabbi Yehuda Nossi doesn't repeat himself. Every Mishnah, unless it's maybe in a different Masechta, the Mishnah will repeat itself. But in the same Masechta, definitely, Rabbi Yehuda Nossi does not repeat himself, unless he's addressing something which I would have known from the previous or the later Mishnah. The get shichru, shegam, ach shekosur lo zocha bo eved. He says, even though the get was written, the writ of emancipation, because it wasn't given to the shliach, therefore the eved did not take possession of it. There's even a chiddush gerisha. Although the husband had appointed the agent when he was alive, the person cannot represent him after he dies. You know what he's saying? It's clear. You would have thought that maybe if a person appoints an agent to represent him when he's alive, even if he should pass away, he represents him. A person's able to affect something in his lifetime even after he passes away. So if I appointed him a shliach and he assumes my position as the husband, so although the husband's no longer here, he's fully functional, independent of the husband. So what's the chiddush in the Mishnah? No, it doesn't work. So now that's the question we discussed yesterday. Seemingly from this, We see clearly not like the Torah. You see clearly a shlich is not a tentacle of the husband, but rather he's the husband. Otherwise, what's even the consideration that the get should be effective even after the husband passes away?
The shliach, like a gun, you shoot the bullet, irrelevant what happens to the gun, the bullet's traveling.
But there's passage not. Some people say yes, some people say no, but it's not clear why you did from this Mishnah. Why you didn't think that it works when he hasn't even given him the get?
No, but so Rashi says no. So Tosfos explains because he already pointed the shliach. He says you will be you are my agent to give the get. To give the get. He didn't yet take possession of the get. But he already appointed him, established him. You are me. So if you're me, so that he passes away after maybe should be irrelevant, because he already was put in the position to represent the husband.
From this example, I don't think we can learn anything about a Shia, because once a man dies, the wife is.
Well, we're not there. We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
That's obvious.
But
And once a man dies, his slaves all go into his estate, his children in here.
Okay.
So, however you define the shliach, it doesn't make any difference.
Wait. Let's talk about the wife. Let's talk about the wife before we get to the slave. Okay. Clearly, what kind of wife are we speaking about over here? We're speaking of a woman who has the potential to become a yavama, meaning the man who died has no children. Right? Because if he has children, it's irrelevant whether the get is a get, whether she's a widow or not a widow. Right? The get is irrelevant. The get being a get is only relevant if the man is childless now and there's a surviving brother. Is she permitted to remarry? If the marriage is terminated because the shlich already was appointed and he could give the get after the husband passes away, she will not fall to Yibum. Because whatever, as the Gemara says in Yevomas, whatever the surviving brother is meant to take over, it doesn't exist. Because the relationship between the husband and wife was terminated. But if it wasn't terminated, he has what to take over. He's taking over the position of the deceased. Yeah, but again, it's not so simple. Not simple.
Because then we said that it works with a slave. An agent works with a slave. There's an argument about this.
Correct.
There's no argument about woman because everybody agrees it's a disadvantage.
No. We're not talking about he takes possession. Not saying because, based on the principle of Zochen, that because it's beneficial, he's able to represent the woman, although she didn't appoint him. We're not saying that. We're speaking the husband appoint him to be the agent to deliver the get. Now the husband dies after he appoints him. So I say, once you make that appointment, now the husband, the agent is functional. Once he's functional, maybe even the husband dies, it's irrelevant. He was already put in a position that he's able to what? To give the get. And she will not fall to evil. That's what maybe you would think. So that the Mishnah says no. That either one or the other. Either because shlichus is a tentacle. So if he's a tentacle, that's why it doesn't work. But the havmin is more than a tentacle. That the shliach is the husband. The Mishnah tells me it's no, it's not to that. Or even if it is the husband, it's only husband when you represent. But if the husband is no longer here, you're not representing. So therefore, even if you would be the husband, you can't represent him if he's no longer here.
I still don't understand. If we're only talking about the narrow case of a woman who's childless,
That is the case.
that is the case we're talking. The moment the husband dies, she is a yavam.
Wait a second.
She automatically reverts. It's not a delay process. Her status has changed. She's now connected to the brother.
No. She's only connected if there's a remnant of that relationship which still lingers on. But if that remnant of relationship is going to be terminated, there's no connection between the relationship of the brother and the surviving brother.
But that relationship cannot be severed by a man who's dead.
Why not? He appointed a shliach. Shliach shalom kabosa means he is the equivalent.
Because if he said the shliach is en route, but the woman's status has already changed.
Maybe not.
He doesn't even have the
By definition, it has changed.
Right, she hasn't received the get yet.
She's
not divorced.
She's not, but she still can be divorced. She still can be divorced.
How that
If she,
that's
right.
another concept. Then a woman who people, then a woman who is a widow can also be divorced.
The get doesn't have to be delivered to be effective.
No, it'll be terminated when he delivers it.
I don't see how that can...
So you're-
I want to read Tosas' words. I just want to read his words. Let's read his words. Tosas says, "The aval gav shemina magarish b'chayev hashaliach." Although the husband had appointed the shliach in his lifetime, l'chosh leos kamosa achamoso, he cannot be considered the equivalent of himself after he dies. Kilu atzmo kayom. That's the chiddush in get lachamisa. You would think, since he appointed him when he was alive, so even if he passes on, it's considered as if he's still alive regarding the get. But rather, the Mishnah is telling us we don't see it that way. Elo choshev get lachamisa. It's considered giving get after he dies, meaning the man doesn't represent him any longer.
I would never have thought.
I understand that. That's exactly what he's addressing. That's what he's addressing.
We should start with the Ebed case, because that case is closer to reality, because the shaliach can accept the get on behalf of the Ebed. So, that's one...
Wait.
Because in advance.
The obvious question is what David asks. What's the reason why the get cannot be given after the master passes away? Because the estate shifts to the heirs. It belongs to the heirs. You can't emancipate a slave that's not your slave. So even though he appointed to be a shliach when he was alive, right? Factually, but who's he emancipating? Today the slave belongs to the children. Doesn't belong to him any longer. So the answer is no. That since the process was in place, and when he appointed the shliach, the agent himself had the ability to terminate that relationship, to free him, I would say it doesn't shift out of the estate. It doesn't shift to the children. Regarding that particular state of ownership, it still has relevance to the father. Because in regard to he already did something which goes beyond his lifetime. What is the value of a shliach in regard to emancipation after man dies? It would say you hold that property in abeyance until it's going to be determined whether it's going to conclude or not conclude. Anything else shifts out. But regarding the slave, he gave the order and he appointed the shliach to represent him to terminate that relationship, to emancipate him. That's in motion. That's already in motion.
So the question is giving the get, does appointing the shaliach but not giving the get ship or enough to free the slave?
Not to free the slave. To hold it, it's an escrow. It's in a holding pattern to see what happens.
See what happens with what?
Meaning the asset doesn't shift to the heirs because the process of emancipation is already in progress.
And what determines whether it goes through or not, right?
Depends if the shliach gives the get or not. What happens now? The shliach dies. The agent that he appoints dies. Okay, so there's nothing to talk about. So that emancipation can't take place. Then it shifts out. But if it can take place, maybe you could terminate it.
Sort of a similar case, a man signs a document for some kind of transfer in court, but it hasn't been approved by the court yet, and then the man dies. So there's a transfer that's been in place.
So same thing. It was approved after he died. It was approved afterwards, but that's retroactive. This is not retroactive. This takes place actually after the man dies. But because he has somebody representing him, therefore that puts it in abeyance. That locks it in. The asset cannot shift out.
I would argue, Rabbi, that when it comes to fiducian, you've got to have a very powerful reason to assume something that's novel. Okay. I would never have considered this possible.
I agree.
So there would have to be some basis. You'd have to have a posture, something, because the Torah says when a man dies, his estate transfers. When a man dies, the former wife is a widow. That's it.
There's no question. When he gave the get, he appoints a shliach to give a get, then he dies. Subsequently, she commits adultery before she receives the get. Nobody questions. She's not liable for the death penalty. It's not an adulterous act. She's definitely a widow. This is only in regard to the divorce process. Can you terminate that remnant of the marriage that she should not fall to evil? That's the only thing it's relevant to. It's not relevant to anything else. A Yavamo commits adultery, right? She's not liable for the death penalty. Of course, the full effect of the marriage is no longer there.
part of the brother.
No,
She connected to
she
the brother.
violated a negative commandment, right? That's separate. She's not permitted to be with someone else, but it's not considered an adulterous act that carries the death penalty.
So what was the consideration of the widow who wanted to go today? I know this is before the Torah was given, but what was the consideration?
Because it was considered more Rebbe Malchus. That since Judah was a melech, so it was like disgracing the king. That's what Ramban learns. It's not that she committed adultery. One more second. The Gemara is going to talk about what the Shchimir or Bori. Was vashmin afgav shebo get li Isha Michaim habiget lachamiso. Vashmin nami lishi. See, it's two different things. Here it's speaking about the appointed shliach. So the chiddush is that even though he appointed shliach when he was alive, the agency is terminated the moment he dies. There it's speaking, a person gives a get to a woman when he's alive. He says it should take effect in 30 days. So the act of divorce was done. The effect is not till 30 days later. So maybe there, it could take effect 30 days later.
Then what if he dies during those 30 days?
Doesn't make a difference. It is speaking he died during the 30 days.
Right, so what happens?
So also it's not valid.
It's not valid.
See, but it's two different concepts in get lachamisa. See, Rashi, I mentioned Rashi yesterday. Rashi in Yom says, why in get lachamisa? He says, Eina mesim megarshim. A person who's deceased cannot bring about divorce. What does that mean? Say the reason why Eina mesim megarshim, the reason why you cannot give a get is because there's nothing to terminate. The whole concept of get is to terminate a relationship. He dies, there's no relationship. So clearly speaking, where he's dying, he died childless. So he gave the get. The effect is in 30 days. So let it be effective in 30 days. He has nobody representing him. He gave the get himself.
The woman has.
The woman has the get to take effect in 30 days. Now, why does it take place in 30 days? Because the husband set that condition. Maybe it should take effect. It should terminate it. Because when was the get given to her? Was given to her when he was alive.
Right.
It's just the effect. Maybe it could. The answer is because who's terminating that relationship? He. A deceased cannot terminate a relationship. That's Eina Mesa Megarshim. A person who's deceased cannot divorce a woman. Therefore, there she's going to fall to evil.
Why? She has the get.
No, but it didn't yet terminate it. It will be terminated in 30 days.
So why does he have to be alive for that to terminate?
Because the Torah says that only a living person can bring about a termination, not a person deceased.
So if that's the case, then it's a question of the agent is easy.
Wait. But here we have something better than that. Because the agent takes over the position of the husband. So maybe we see the husband as being viable. The one who's divorcing or bringing about divorce is a viable, living person. Because he is the husband. So that's not called Eina Mesa Megarshim. He's not a mess. He's a viable person. The shliach, because shliach means he's fully the husband.
Right.
Can we take a much simpler case to determine whether the shaliach can do anything after the husband's dead? In other words, if the husband said to shaliach, to sell a box of tissues to somebody, and the money would just go into his estate after he did, is there anything that the shaliach can do?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Correct.
In other words, the husband sends him on his way and says, sell this box of tissues, and if I die, then the money will just go into my estate.
He doesn't even have to say that. He doesn't have to say that.
Part of the estate.
He doesn't have to say that.
But the question is, why can't the shaliach become part of the husband's estate?
What do you mean the shliach has the estate? The Torah says the moment one person dies, he can own nothing. And whatever he owned is transferred to his heirs, the closest heir.
And then he's working for the heirs. Then he's shliach.
No, he's not working. How does he working for them? Unless he agreed to work for them.
The heirs haven't appointed.
Right.
So if you can't do that, then all of these questions are clear.
They're good questions.
It's
So what's
just-
even the
it's easier-
consideration?
It's easier to think about on a simple case, because again, is much more.
No, what about
complex.
writ of emancipation is the exact same thing. He's the chattel of the father. Father dies, he's no longer his chattel. You can't emancipate somebody who's not your chattel, right? Because it's transferred to the children. But I think if he appointed the shliach, Tosa says, when he was alive, maybe you can. Because that will hold it up that it should not shift. It's not going to shift out into the estate. Because the process already was in motion. Okay?
why are we assuming this is a case of Yibam not addressing the question of whether she can marry a Kohen or not? Because a divorce can't marry a Kohen, correct?
Okay.
So why are we assuming this is Yibam, not that question?
Why does the man want to give a get to his wife? If, let's say we're talking about the Gemara has a question whether he's a shchilmera, he's on his death. What's so urgent he should give his wife a get? He wants to prohibit her to a Kohen.
I have no idea what.
No, we see cases because times of the essence. There's an urgency. If he dies, she's going to fall to Yibam. He doesn't want his wife to be the wife of his brother.
And that's what the mission is talking about, specifically that, as opposed to any other situation where someone dies.
Kohen can be one of the issues, but it seems to be it's the concern of the husband. The husband's concerned, and that's why he wants to give the get. That's the urgency of the get.
We just ask, in the case of a man putting the get to release a slave in the hands of an agent, there's an argument about whether it works or severe.
Yes, remain the chachamim.
If a woman is childless, and a man puts the get in his hands, would the man say it works for zechir the moment that the agent takes it?
No.
The man is still alive? Because in that case, you've got an additional consideration for her benefit. Could he say
But he
yes?
doesn't. He doesn't make any differentiation. Doesn't make a differentiation.
You still say it's better
The
for her to
concept
be
of divorce means all financial responsibility between the husband and wife comes to an end. That itself is a detriment.
The husband has to support her, though. He has to pay for what he owes her.
For ksuba.
Right. So is there
But the ongoing support, there isn't the ongoing support. What he supported when he was alive.
But if she was a widow, then what's the obligation of?
Well, it's a
support?
detriment. Being divorced is considered a negative.
So being released from Yibam,
Evidently, it's
It's
not
not enough of a
it's not
positive.
enough positive. Correct. See, if you learn the way Rashi learns, it's a little easier. Makes it easier. If you say the woman, every case of schia, the one you represent is appointing you. It's not so simple, right? Tosas learns we could say with certainty because it's beneficial. The person would want you to represent him. So then we get to pick and choose the cases. What about this situation here? This woman has a disastrous marriage. She wants out. We don't find Remain makes any, even the Chum make differentiations, right? Divorce is a chov, therefore it doesn't work. But we say with certainty she would want him to represent her. But the Chum don't say such a thing, right? Nobody says it. But if you say the Torah points to shliach, as we said, Rashi learns, factually divorce is a detriment. Has nothing to do with what she wants, what she doesn't want. Since it's classified as a detriment, therefore the concept of shchia doesn't work. So if that's the case, you can't represent the person unless you actually appoint the person to represent you. Okay, let's go further. Tenu mana leish ploni umes. What?
Just before we leave this up, the concept of an agent, how do we leave this subject? What exactly is it? Is this a dispute as well? The concept, where does the agent get his power?
From the appointmentship of the husband, or
No.
whoever appoints him.
But if you think about plugging a device into an outlet, if you think of an agent that way, the moment that
Well, but they said, but even that's questionable. When you plug it into the outlet, everybody agrees, according to the conclusion, the moment the one who appoints him dies, it's terminated.
is
Pull out the plug.
Whether you represent him fully or whether you're a tentacle. Okay?
the power outlet.
So the appliance that you put into the outlet, the reason why the appliance functions is because of the energy. But what is functioning? It's the appliance that you plugged into the energy source. So that would be the agent functions fully independent of the husband. So even if the husband becomes incompetent, the agent could function fully because the husband is still alive, right? But if the husband dies, there's no energy source. There's nobody to represent. Therefore, it's terminated, right?
So is that, but So
That's
everybody
an
agrees
argument.
to it.
That's an argument. Everybody agrees it's terminated, but the question is, when he is alive, what exactly is the function of the agent? Is it a tentacle, or he is the husband? What's the halachic difference? He becomes incompetent,
Yeah.
right? It's a machlokas. Okay. Trumana lishploniumes. A person gives the order, give $100 to so and so when he passes away. Before it's given, it's given after he passes away. Well, we'll see. We'll see. The Gemara, how does it work? So why doesn't it shift the estate? Correct? So the Gemara is going to discuss this. Let's get ask on it. Omer Rav Yitzchak Omer Shmuel Bar Maso. It says, give that $100. Now, this $100, did he speak about a specific $100? And the charge itself causes the transfer, because the Gemara is going to ask a question. Just because he gave the charge before he died, but the one who was supposed to receive it, there was never a Ma'aser Kinyan. He never acquired it. So if he never acquired it, just as a slave shifts to the heirs, the $100 also goes into the estate. Omer Rav Yitzchak Bar Mas, Omer Shmuel Bar Masa, Mishmei the Rav, V'ushet Tzvurin Munochem B'Keren Dovis. The $100 that he said should be given are gathered in a corner. We're speaking about a specific $100. So more what's the B'mayas Kinyan. The one who gave the order that the $100 should be given to so and so, what kind of always speaking about a healthy person. He says, give that $100 to so and so. So kitzur mayhavek holo moshach. Even though it's identified and it's gathered in the corner, but the recipient never did an active acquisition on it. So if he never did an acquisition, and when he dies, whose asset was it? It was the deceased. So if that's the case, it transfers to the heirs.
Maybe you could say the shaliach acquired it for him.
No. It was the order. All the cases of mission, the order was given. Nobody, the agent didn't take possession yet.
That's why they're saying a specific pile of coins. When the agent looked at the coins.
So what? He looked at it means nothing. He says, take that pile of coins, give it to so and so. Before he had a chance to take the coins, the man dies. So it says, nevertheless, the $100 belongs to so and so. Now, what was the mechanism that caused the transfer? If it's a matnas bar, it's a gift of a healthy person. So, what caused the transfer from the benefactor to the recipient? Holo moshach.
Isn't that as easy as a question?
No, the shlich didn't take possession.
Because he didn't take. If
He
he
did-
had taken possession,
That's
it's
simple.
easy.
That's simple.
It's easy.
That's simple. Elo b'shchiv meira.
Why is that simple?
That's often lo adam shlo b'fonov.
If he's healthy and he gives a guy to give
And
him
the
$100,
shliach took possession on behalf of the person he said. That's like get shichur.
and the guy dies.
So the person already acquired it
We know
before.
that healthy guy.
He says, take it and give it to someone. That's like the get shichur. The writ of emancipation. What does Remain argue with the chachomim? Because he's denied what he had when he was a slave. Receiving $100, you deny nothing. It's all benefit. There's no negative side to it. So everybody agrees the shlich can take possession on behalf of the recipient. Right? That's an easy one. Nobody argues that. Elo b'shchiv mira. So what do we speak? B'shchiv mira. That Chazal, they legislated a person on his deathbed because his health is so precarious. If he feels his last will and testament is not being met, it could cause him to die prematurely. So when he gives the order to do something, the transfer takes place immediately. That's called divrei shchivre k'msum dami. The words of a person on his deathbed, it's as if it's been transacted. So if that's the case, ma'ir yitzvurin. So what does it have to be identified, gathered in a corner? Kain tzvurin nami, even if it's not gathered. Shchimira says, give $100 to so and so. That's it.
Done.
Why? Where do we find? Deho, kaimelon. We rule. Divrei shchimira k'chsurim musurim dami. It's as if the document was written and the document was transferred. So if that's the case, Rav evidently can't be speaking about a shchimira. Person's on his deathbed. Because Rav says the money has to be identified in the corner. Omer Rav Zvid l'olam b'bari. Factually speaking about the person's not on his deathbed, he just gave the order, give the money, and suddenly he dies. So the Gemara asks, but again, what was the act of acquisition on behalf of the recipient? That was the question. Rafuna, Omer Rav. And it's based on Rav Huna, it's another halacha. He said name Rav, Omer Rafuna, Omer Rav, Mora li biotcho. A person says, I have $100 belonging to you. Okay? Teneulo liploni. Give it to so-and-so. But maimot shloshton. There's a rabbinic transfer here. If it's done in the presence of three people, kono. Even though one of the parties did not take possession, if it's said in the context of three people, the transfer takes place.
Can you describe what's happening here?
A person, not on
Three people, so it's like the court is saying, okay, you say.
It's not a court. The three people present, and he says, give so and so. Let's say we'll make it one of the three people are part of one. The one who's going to receive it, he's part of the three of the trio of the group.
Correct.
And he says, give the $100 to so and so. And he says this in presence of three people.
Give what?
I owe him $100. I want $100 of my money should go to so and so.
So the money is there, the money is not there.
No, wait. So he's saying when Rob says it's munach b'keren zovis, the $100 is in the corner. That's the case where it was said in the presence of three people. So how does the transfer take place? Ma'imit shloshnim. There's a kinyan called ma'imit shloshnim. Anything that's said in the presence of three, the transfer takes place. It's a hefker as an hefker. Chazal said the money is transferred immediately to the one who's meant to have it.
In this case, he already owes the money to the person?
He could even gift it.
Because if he owes the money to the person, it's easy to understand why it's still an obligation of the estate. So
State has no obligation.
if I owe money to someone... that's
Unless
money
there's a
that-
lien. No. If there's no lien, the money goes to the heirs. The heirs don't have to pay the debts of the father. They inherit the movables. If there's a lien on the property, then the property is linked to the debt. But if there's no lien, even the father owed, the heirs owe nothing.
But nevertheless, you can see why that might be different. If the father owes money, he says to someone, pay this money. If you say, pay this money to that person.
Yeah,
And nobody ever took possession on behalf of that
money
person.
doesn't exist, though.
What we're talking about, it does exist.
No, that alone, it doesn't exist.
Well,
Where's
the
money?
Gemara's going to
Here we're
discuss.
talking about
Wait.
money that
The
exists.
Gemara's going to discuss this. Does it have to exist? Does it not have to exist? Right? Here, Rob said the money does exist. The money's been identified. It's lying in a corner.
Fine.
Okay? The Gemara's going to ask a question. If you have Ma'imit Shloshim, does it have to exist? Or even Ma'imit Shloshim works even if it doesn't exist? Person says, I give so-and-so $100. It's as if the $100 already has been transferred, even though you didn't identify any amount of money. We'll see.
You're saying you have two people here, the person who's giving the instruction, the person who has money, the person who gets...
No, not the person does that. Third party. That person does. He says one of his children, himself, his child, and the recipient.
Right.
He says, give money to the third party.
And then you have to have three other people.
No, not three other people. Nobody. That's it. The transfer took place.
Give this money.
What?
Give this money.
This money.
This
Well,
money.
what we're saying now, the money that's lying in the corner. He says, give $100 to so-and-so. And Rob said, which is $100? The one that's lying in the corner. That means it has to be identified. If it's not identified, it doesn't transfer.
Okay, so wasn't that in regular Meshicha that someone, a healthy
No.
guy,
Mashiach means you welcome, didn't know three people. You won't take possession, let me take possession. Whether there's three or no three.
So which
One
three
second.
other people?
Rav Papa Amar L'Olam Yishchiv Meir. We'll see in a moment. We're speaking about the man's on his deathbed. We asked the question if he's on his deathbed, right? Why do you have to identify the money? Divrei Yishchiv Meir Ksum Surindami. Uchneid the Rav. It's going according to the other ruling of Rav Dam. Rav Shchivin Rav Shomet Tenu Mon Leploni in the Chosai. If he says, give $100 for my assets, Mon is Zed Nosnin. If he identifies the 100 you give, Mon is Tame Nosnin. Why? Chayshin Shem Mon cover. Maybe he's speaking about another 100. You can't, even though he said give 100, maybe he's not referring to this 100, it may be another 100. There may be 100 that's buried somewhere. That's the 100 he meant to give.
So it's to be specific then.
Therefore, that's the reason why. That's why you need the money to be identified. It's the money that's piled in the corner.
Shchir Meirah.
To be continued.